Climate change vulnerability. Climate change doesn't affect everyone equally. While the whole planet is warming, some people, places, and ecosystems are hit much harder than others. This is called vulnerability. How much damage climate change can cause to different groups. Today, we'll explore why some communities face greater risks and what makes them more vulnerable to our changing climate. Think of vulnerability like this. Imagine two houses during a storm. One house is built strong, sits on high ground and has good insurance. The other house is old, sits in a flood zone, and the owners can't afford repairs. The same storm will cause much more damage to the second house. Climate change works the same way. The impacts depend on where you live, how much money you have, and what resources are available to help you cope. Some places and people are simply more at risk than others. Some of the most vulnerable places on Earth are low-lying coastal areas. These communities live right at sea level, so even small increases in sea level can flood their homes, streets, and businesses. When storms hit these areas, the damage is devastating. Storm surges, huge walls of water pushed by hurricanes, can flood entire neighborhoods. Even on calm days, high tides now flood streets that used to stay dry. Small island nations face an even more serious threat. Their entire countries could disappear underwater. Islands in the Pacific Ocean, like Tuvalu and the Marshall Islands, are only a few feet above sea level. For these communities, climate change isn't just about adapting, it's about survival. Some islanders are already becoming climate refugees, forced to leave the only home their families have known for generations. Imagine having to abandon your entire country because it's sinking beneath the waves. In the Arctic, indigenous communities face a different kind of vulnerability. These people have lived in harmony with ice and snow for thousands of years. Their entire way of life depends on the frozen landscape. As Arctic ice melts, the ground beneath their homes becomes unstable. Permafrost, permanently frozen soil, is thawing, causing buildings to sink and crack. Traditional hunting grounds are disappearing as sea ice becomes too thin and dangerous to travel on. Arctic communities also face food insecurity. They've always hunted seals, whales, and other animals that depend on sea ice. As the ice disappears, these animals become harder to find. Store-bought food is extremely expensive in remote Arctic communities, making traditional hunting essential for survival. Money plays a huge role in climate vulnerability. Wealthy communities can build seawalls, install better air conditioning, and move to safer areas when needed. Poor communities often can't afford these protections. When disasters strike, poor families suffer more and recover more slowly. They might live in cheaper, more dangerous areas like flood zones. They might not have cars to evacuate quickly or money to stay in hotels during emergencies. Some communities are vulnerable because their infrastructure, roads, bridges, power lines is old and can't handle extreme weather. When heat waves hit, old electrical systems fail. When floods come, poor drainage systems can't cope. Communities with modern infrastructure fare much better. They have better flood defenses, more reliable power systems, and stronger buildings. But building this infrastructure costs money that many communities don't have. Farmers, especially small-scale farmers in developing countries, are extremely vulnerable to climate change. They depend directly on weather patterns for their crops, and they often lack the resources to adapt when those patterns change. When droughts last longer or floods become more frequent, these farmers can lose everything. Unlike large commercial farms, they can't afford irrigation systems, drought-resistant seeds, or crop insurance. A single bad season can destroy their livelihood. Cities create their own vulnerability problems. Concrete and asphalt absorb heat, making cities hotter than surrounding areas. During heat waves, urban areas can become dangerously hot, especially for elderly people and those without air conditioning. Some neighborhoods are more vulnerable than others. Areas with lots of trees and green spaces stay cooler, but poor neighborhoods often have less green space and more heat-absorbing surfaces, making them hotter and more dangerous during heat waves. It's not just human communities that are vulnerable. Entire ecosystems face serious threats. Coral reefs are extremely sensitive to temperature changes. Even a small increase in water temperature can cause massive coral bleaching and death. Polar ecosystems are among the most vulnerable on Earth. These environments are changing faster than anywhere else, and the plants and animals that live there have nowhere else to go. When their icy world melts, they face extinction. Mountain ecosystems are also highly vulnerable. As temperatures rise, plants and animals that need cool conditions must move higher up the mountain. But eventually, they run out of mountain. There's nowhere higher to go. Some people are naturally more vulnerable to climate impacts. Children and elderly people are more sensitive to extreme heat. Their bodies can't regulate temperature as well, making heat waves particularly dangerous for them. These vulnerable populations often depend on others for protection. When extreme weather hits, they need special care and attention to stay safe. The most vulnerable people often face multiple risks at once. They might be poor, live in a dangerous location, lack good infrastructure, and have health problems. When climate change hits, all these vulnerabilities combine to create even greater harm. Understanding vulnerability is crucial for fighting climate change fairly. We need to protect the most vulnerable communities first and help them build resilience. This means investing in better infrastructure, supporting adaptation efforts, and ensuring that climate solutions help those who need them most. Climate change may create vulnerability, but human cooperation and smart planning can build resilience. By understanding who's most at risk, we can work together to protect everyone and build a more just and sustainable future. Thank you for watching this video. If it was knowledgeable or resourceful, like it and share with like minds. Subscribe for more.